So activists are constantly calling for more taxes and it's getting very confusing. Let's unpack them, see how useful they are, if they even are useful at all. A progressive tax is one where the rich are taxed a higher percentage than the poor. A flat tax is one where the rich are taxed the same percentage as the poor. And naturally, a regressive tax is one where the rich are taxed the lower percentage than the poor. Of course, there's the frankly rubbish ultra-regressive tax, where the rich are taxed a lower raw amount than the poor. When we think about taxes, we normally think about income tax. But there are many problems with the income tax, namely, what on earth is income? Jeff Bezos actually pays very little tax because his Amazon stock growth is not income, even though the dividends are. And then another way to circumvent this is for family members to split the income among themselves, overall reducing the tax rate. There's other shady business like offshore accounts and other loopholes like paying in jewelry, which work in pretty much the entire private sector. Of course, if you're a civil servant, please don't try, it won't work. An alternative is the flat tax, but that puts quite a bit of pressure on the lower class, and alleviating the pressure simply transfers it to the middle class. Even in flat taxes, the means of not declaring various sources of income is still very much viable. The richer you go, the more incentive people have to spend on evading taxes rather than paying up, so you end up with a regressive tax in disguise. It will make sense that a property tax is much harder to circumvent than an income tax. After all, property can't run away, it can't be divided, and it most certainly cannot be placed in offshore accounts. But it disincentivizes maintenance and upgrades that would make your property worth more. The wealth tax, that is a tax on net worth, involves a lot of speculation about businesses and even art. The land tax speculates on the land value instead of the property value. Well, it's still speculation. And the inheritance tax poses the problem of double taxation, because whatever's being passed down has already been taxed in their lifetime. Capital gains tax quite literally takes profit from the sale of an asset, severely disincentivizing investing in companies, reducing innovation and entrepreneurship. But we finally come to the most ubiquitous tax, the sales tax. What's the problem? Lower income families spend considerable amounts of their income on essential goods, while higher income families will not spend proportionally, even on luxury items and better quality goods. This makes the sales tax a regressive tax which disproportionately affects the poor. Ultimately, the worst problem is how the money is spent. Here's just to name a few strange expenses.
We spent $1 million having young people take selfies of themselves while smiling, and then looking at it later in the day to see if looking at pictures of yourself smiling makes you a happier person. That cost you $1 million. We spent nearly $1 million studying the Japanese quail to see if they're more sexually promiscuous when they're on cocaine.
So maybe the problem with taxes isn't the tax itself, but rather how money is used. A tax that maximizes accountability and discourages evasion through flattening, while maintaining progressiveness to reduce burden on the poor, that does not discourage economically beneficial activity, that is simple and minimizes bureaucratics, and above all funds and efficient government is key to a country's progress.